I've been working a lot with recruiters in Israel to have them learn how to do recruiting in social networks.
Yes.
And there's a big group that's very interested in it, and there's a big group that says, I'm not so sure that it's the right way to go.
Right.
What would you tell recruiters?
I would say first, what is it that your best candidates are doing with social networks, if anything?
What is it?
If you're looking for engineers and there are no engineers using social networks,
no, they are.
I got it. So then, but the question might be, what are they doing? I have an engineering degree, and I got a lot of engineering friends who don't want to have any footprint.
I agree. And you,
so
like I say, you see
there
both
may be,
types.
based upon privacy, security, a variety of other things. But it's not your employer's issue. It's the candidate's issue. So it's really
start by
understanding.
checking the candidates.
Check, survey, do focus groups, learn what the candidates are doing and how fast they're moving from here to here, if at all. Are they moving in that direction or moving in that direction?
And if they're in the networks, not for business but for
social
purposes, would you still?
I'd be asking them. Some are okay with that. Some want to know certain things about companies. The other piece of this is it's a two-way street. So most of us think about social network in terms of the message we want to get out. How willing are you to simply lay it out that if you want to have a conversation with me, I'm here to have that conversation any way you choose.
I have another position or another position.
Right. So one way of looking at social networking isn't using it to get to them.
Right.
It's just being there if they want to engage you. So where would they find you? Where would they look? They would go to Google, maybe, and they would say, I want a job like what up? When they get a results page, are you there?
Okay.
If you're not, then you may be missing an opportunity because you're looking at how they find you. If you if they look for if they say to Facebook, I think I'd like a job in supply chain, you should show up. If that's what you have as those things, and maybe they're not at that point looking to apply for the job. They want to find out about the job. So maybe on a social network like a Facebook, it's not to apply here. It's to here are the people who specialize in hiring supply chain experts in our company, and here's a profile of who they are.
And do you have any question that you'd like to
And
ask?
if you have questions, you could say, and let's say you don't want to have a lot of people beating you down all of the time, so you say every Wednesday we have a little webinar or a little chat room, and we're going to engage folks and see where they want to go. And it's not hard to get from that step to, do you want to stay in touch with us?
Right.
And here are a couple ways we can do that in a way that doesn't cost me a lot of time, energy, and effort, and doesn't cause you a lot of time, energy, and effort.
So you're saying that the switch in the perspective is, instead of looking for places to broadcast and saying, is the network the right place for me to broadcast?
Broadcast is 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what we thought. But being where somebody else wants you at the right time, right place.
And just being there.
Just being there, and being willing to answer questions no one else will ask.
Yeah.
If I'm in this country, there aren't many women engineers. In fact, only 17% of the practicing engineers in the United States are women.
Oh.
So if I were a really high-performing woman engineer, and I might be interested in a company that valued me because mine isn't valuing me as much, what are you willing to tell me about how many women have been hired in the last year versus how many engineers? How many have moved from one position to another? How many have been promoted in the last 2 to 3 years? Do you know that answer?
Salary differences.
And what are the salary differences, at these bands and these levels? If I'm a recruiter who's world class, I know the answers to those. And you know something? I have no fear in telling you that we're not as good as we should be here, and I'm committed to helping make that difference. Are you good enough to come join us and help push that difference? Yeah. So, can I? And if you're not, this is the wrong place for you. Don't make that decision. That's a whole different.
So transparent,
there's a transparency there that most American companies still have not gotten. When they get that, or when the companies that do get that, now they're getting how to use social media in a whole different way.
So recruiters should basically know the tools so that they'll be able to choose where they want to, where's the right place for them to be, not ignore it up front.
And you know, I think recruiters should also ask themselves, how good do I want to be? Really, how good do I want to be, and how am I going to measure that? Do I measure it in terms of my income, or do I measure it in terms of the people's lives that I change? You know, and I raise that only because I can't answer it for anyone. I can only answer it for me. It's a very personal issue about how you measure your success.
Right.
But I think it's true no matter what you do. But fundamentally, I'm not worried about other things. I'm only worried about recruiting. And I think recruiting has an opportunity, because of what it does, to change people's lives. And if we're not doing it well, it screws up organizations, but more importantly, it screws up the people in those organizations. So I believe we've got a great function. I admire the recruiters who are out there every day slogging it out, trying to make that placement, put that butt in that seat, you know, and all of those things. But I want them also to be better than that. You know, I want them to think much broader about what this means if you do this for a lifetime. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thanks a lot.